I don't mean to be crass, but get prepared to get wet.
Oh my God. There's no double meaning in that.
In Game of Thrones, when Brienne approaches Elena and Marjorie for the first time, Elena's "my word" was unscripted. Diana Rigg knew the role of Brienne required a tall woman, but she wasn't expecting her to be 6'3" and broad-shouldered.
My word.
One of the most badass moments of all time was in the Breaking Bad episode, Crazy Handful of Nothin. Raymond Cruz improvised by stubbing out a cigarette on his tongue. Bryan Cranston's reaction is quite genuine. A crew member was visible in the background in Chapter 12 of The Mandalorian. He was digitally removed 6 days after the episode was released, but not before he became a meme known as Jeans Guy. Jeans Guy and the stormtrooper hitting his head have the same energy. The Office is easily one of the best comedy shows ever to be produced on television, and the show also has one of the funniest bloopers that made the cut.
I don't mean to be crass, but get prepared to get wet.
Oh my God. There's no double meaning in that.
In a cold open from Season 2, Jim pops the exercise ball that Dwight is using at his desk. The ball wasn't actually meant to pop like that. It was meant to slowly deflate. So when Dwight fell down, you can see John's real reaction as he jumped out of the shot laughing. Twin Peaks is a rare case where a blooper led to long-term consequences in the show. While filming the last shot of the pilot, set director Frank Silva's reflection appeared in a mirror by accident. Director David Lynch, who had already been toying with the idea of giving Silva an actual role, created Bob as a result. This is how one of TV's most terrifying villains happened by complete accident. Even in popular TV shows like Breaking Bad, mistakes can happen.
You're goddamn right.
The show is set in 2007, but there's a scene where a character mentions Osama bin Laden's death, which actually occurred in 2011, 4 years later. This inconsistency surprised even the show's creators when viewers pointed it out.
But hitting him in 3 separate jails all within 2 minutes? Whacking bin Laden wasn't as complicated.
In Arrested Development, Tobias, in disguise as a Miss Doubtfire, tries to make a Mary Poppins-like stunt. It results in David Cross losing his balance, crashing into a coffee table, and smashing it. David Cross, despite being an actual pain, manages to stay in character, and even more amazingly, Elias Shawkat, aside from making a quick glance, manages to keep a somewhat straight face throughout the whole thing. In one episode of The Nanny, Sylvia fills in for Fran as the nanny. The desk collapses under her weight when she sits on Maxwell's desk. They decided to keep it because it was funnier than what was originally scripted. If you look carefully, you can see the actors in the scene trying not to break character. The most famous blooper from Battlestar Galactica was probably the scene when, in a fit of rage over losing someone, Edward James destroyed a model ship that his character had been building. He thought that the model was just a prop and smashed it in a single take that made it into the show. Little did he know, the model was actually on loan from a maritime museum and had a value of $100,000. Fortunately, it was insured. When Joey and Ross are busy putting others down in front of their date, who subsequently leaves during the exchange, they get up to leave, but not before Matt LeBlanc ad-libs this hilarious line.
Table of 2? You hungry?
Was a bear shit in the woods?
This obviously did not make the original airing, but is available on DVD cut. During a Christmas-themed episode of That 70s Show, Ashton Kutcher, playing Kelso, was supposed to jump over the couch to greet another character. However, when he landed on the couch, his feet slipped, leading to a hilarious crash into the coffee table. You have to give it to Ashton, though. Despite the mishap, he stays in character and carries on with the scene, making it one of the show's most iconic bloopers. In a particular episode of Glee, there's a memorable moment where Naya Rivera unexpectedly slapped Corey Monteith across the face.
What are you talking about?
Surprisingly, the slap wasn't scripted, but it added an authentic intensity to the scene. During the Jamie Foxx show's Traffic School Day episode, the entire cast burst into laughter when Mark Curry, playing the instructor, slid and almost tripped as he ran toward the front of the room. The fact that the slide was a mistake but still so clean to this day amazes me.
I did not ask you to stay in the bed.
In Faulty Towers, the scene in which Basil needs 3 tries to open a wine bottle because the cork keeps breaking was a complete accident. John Cleese admits that it could never have worked that well if they tried to do it deliberately. In The Adventures of Superman, Lois Lane is supposed to be knocked out when a thug punches her. Unfortunately, the actor accidentally missed her air punch and really did hit her, knocking Phyllis Coates unconscious. She had to go to the hospital, and he felt incredibly guilty. In the Friends episode, the one with the cuffs, Chandler accidentally hits his head on a file cabinet while saying a line.
Just.
This wasn't remotely planned, and yet Matthew Perry, ever the pro, manages to stay in character. Psych often includes ad-libs, the most notable of which is the long-running gag of Shawn introducing Gus using absurd fake names. The first use was a surprise ad-lib by James Rodriguez. Eventually, the names became written into the script.
My name is Shawn Spencer. This is my associate, Donut Holstein. This is my partner, Control-Alt-Delete. This is my partner, Daquan Smallpox Randolph. You can call him Gus.
One episode of Friends has Ross's son, Ben, play a prank on him. Ross chases him up the stairs, stating how much trouble he's in, while Rachel tries to defuse the situation, and freaks out when he sees Ross fall down the stairs. The segment was directed by David Schwimmer, and he did not tell Jennifer Aniston about the prank, which made her freak out and her anger appear more genuine. In the original script for The Addams Family, Lurch was a mute, but Ted Cassidy ad-libbed his catchphrase while filming the pilot, and the producers liked it so much they gave Lurch a voice.
Wild.
You're right.
In the episode, the one with Phoebe's uterus on Friends, Joey walks into the apartment wearing a blue blazer. Matthew Perry, while making a joke, accidentally said black instead of back, but the actors' reactions to the mistake were so funny that they decided to leave it in.
I don't know, but Donald Trump wants his blue blazer black. What? Blue blazer back. He wants it back.
Tell me, Rose, did they ever shoot a herring out of a cannon?
In one episode of The Golden Girls, Rue McClanahan and Bea Arthur break character and begin laughing on camera as Betty White delivers a funny monologue about a herring war.
The Great Herring War?
Yes, between the Lindstroms and the Johanssons. Oh, that great herring war.
According to interviews with the cast, this was actually a taped rehearsal for the scene, but the producers liked the spontaneous reaction so much it became the final version of the scene.